January 21st, 2024. Where are we at with buying property in Portugal? I think we're at the point where we've realized
Everything is moldy.
everything is moldy in Portugal, and we've realized that a real estate agent strategy, the average real estate agent strategy here, is to say that there's a house or a ruin instead of just saying that there's land. Because if you're just selling land, you can get 10, 20,000 euros. But if you can convince the buyer that
Four-bedroom house.
there's a 4 bedroom house or a ruin, you can add on a couple zeros or at least an extra 10 or 20,000 or 30,000 euros. So we've been looking at places that are quote unquote 3, 4 bedroom houses, but in all reality, you're buying land and a demolition project and then a construction project.
A huge project.
And Desiree and I are no strangers to renovations, to demolitions, to building. We both have done plenty of work in that field, and so having a real estate agent, and at this point several real estate agents, try to convince us that something that is clearly uninhabitable is a 4 bedroom house.
Like dangerous spaces for humans.
That's just where we're at.
They're trying to sell us houses.
So we're pivoting to a different strategy, and if you want to tell the people here about the new strategy.
Well, since everything is moldy and rotten and full of termites, we're thinking to, like, how do we get the land but build something new without spending $1 million or euros? And the idea we are exploring right now are, which is something we had planned anyway, if we bought one of these properties to renovate and to gut and put a new roof and take out all the wood and replace it and whatever, we had started thinking of getting a tiny home or a trailer, something kind of temporary.
But new and clean.
New and clean and not moldy, because it's a huge issue here. And then we're thinking, well, what's wrong with living in a tiny home in general?
In a brand new tiny home, or something like clean and new, and where we're not concerned about our health.
Mm-hmm. So then, what if we get 1 or 2 tiny homes to start with, which was a long-term plan anyway, was to get cabins or yurts or other structures that are, pretty compact.
Right.
We don't need these sprawling American-style houses. Like, that's not our need, personally. I also have nothing against those, but it's not something that we're seeking out. So yeah, the tiny homes are kind of what we're exploring right now. We're figuring out different companies that offer them here, prefab. It looks like it takes about 3 months for them to make them. And then you can be on the land because they come on a trailer and they're technically not a permanent structure.
In this scenario, we would just be shopping for some land that is suitable for our needs, which would be, we want to have guests, we want to be able to have people park their RVs, we want to be close to a school and local amenities. I'm going to need to be close to a building materials place, and our guests would like to drive to one of the, obviously the West Coast ocean, so that can't be too far inland where we're telling people, the beach is 3 hours that way.
We don't want that.
So those are like some parameters and variables that we're working with right now, and we're basically pivoting to a different approach because our initial approach, we just told you, and then we had this thought of like, okay, maybe let's just increase the budget and get mortgages. Does that change anything? And we're looking at, and I hate to say this, guys, but
we quadrupled our budget.
We
went up to $1 million.
We were ready to spend a lot of money, and
it's pointless.
It's all the same. I don't want to say it's all the same thing because we didn't look at every single conceivable place in Portugal,
right.
But the places that we looked at were all the same thing.
And the thing is, even the places we've rented right now as like
brand
short-term rentals,
new construction,
new renovated,
brand everything. And Desiree and I are looking at each other like, this literally could be us if we don't take care of this mold situation. Like currently right now, we are in a brand freshly renovated place. Everything still has stickers on it, brand new. And I hate to say it, fam, there's mold here too, and it's everywhere.
Yeah,
and the locals
making us sick.
The locals are just like, The air it breathes. It goes out the roof. The holes in the roof, the moisture goes out the roof. So coming from Niagara, dealing with all seasons, we just have a whole different mentality than the people here. And I'm not trying to insult them, but we just need to be real and focus
Well, it's
on
a health issue. It's for us, and because we're aware, we can't just pretend like it's fine to live in mold. Like, no, it's not fine. It made us sick sleeping in it for one night.
Right.
What do you think it's going to do having a whole season in it? So
yeah, and
there's
there's no injections that can cure the mold in your house.
Oh, come on. Yeah, so because we are looking at these structures and like we can see that whatever we do, like even if we strip it bare, there's still these stone walls, and then we're gonna put drywall in front of that, and then there's gonna be moisture in between the drywall and the stone wall.
Yep.
Like that's just that's just normal, because there are temperature differentials.
So right now, just to wrap up, we're on our way back to Berlin basically in a few hours, and we've had a week or a bit here, a little bit more than a week, a lot of time to look around and think. We've been from the Algarve to Lisbon and a little bit north.
Central Portugal.
So we've had a lot of viewings, a lot of time to think about our next move, and we're being forced because of this situation that we did not know about. With our boots on the ground now, we have been able to see with our own eyes, smell with our own noses, and we're pivoting to a different strategy, which was at some point in the beginning, it was one of our initial ideas. Like, why don't we just get a tiny home, put it on the land?
Right.
So now we're realizing about like local bylaws and local construction laws, we're kind of pivoting to something that is a happy medium and makes sense. So our current line of action is to get some land with a ruin on it or something that we can build in the footprint of, and not being concerned about our living situation. We can live in a tiny home or multiple tiny homes. I'll get a four-wheel drive truck, and then we can pivot back and forth, to whatever we need to do. We can construct year round. I can go get building supplies, and that seems to be a good solid start right now. So now it's just financially how to do that, where to buy the land, location, this type of thing. So that's kind of our new point where we're at. At this point, January 21st, 2024, that is where Desiree and I are at, just being honest with you guys. And I wish that real estate agents here were a little bit more honest, but I understand why. Because you make a lot more money selling a 3-bedroom house or a 4-bedroom house than you would ever get selling a plot of land with a demolition project built on it.
Yeah, and in their point of view, basically, they're like, oh, it needs a new roof, and you have to remediate this little section, and the floor is a little soft here, so that might need to be addressed. But
and the roof, the roof and the walls.
They're critical things in a house, and
glossing over it like it's something that's just so easy, and it's like a sparkle, and it's like a YouTube video where you just click your fingers and everything's brand new. Desiree and I
just don't agree.
Desiree and I have had to do this hard work, and we know that it's not just click your fingers and everything's brand new. Yeah. So, that's where we're at, everyone. Just want to let you know.